Change is the only constant in life. I'm changing things up in my outdoor studio again. I would have been back on schedule with a new choreography, but this week my preferred outdoor studio has been repurposed for something else, so I'll think on the fly, on my feet, be creative again. I'll probably still dance as per normal, but I'm going to concentrate on upper body, mostly the hands. I've called this Breaking Badass, but if you've been following since the beginning, I've actually danced other styles of hip-hop in equal parts. Are they even all considered hip-hop styles? I'll have to double check that. In regards to intricate hand dancing, I've concentrated on two forms this year, which are tutting and whacking. Tutting I've featured heavily because I've now choreographed 3 dances dedicated to my 100th country of Egypt. I celebrate different things than the normal person. So the 2 that I'll be celebrating from now on are my 100th country anniversary and my 7 continents anniversary, which happen to be roughly a month apart. My 100th country of Egypt happened a couple of weeks ago, and I choreographed 3 dances dedicated to that. 1 to Walk Like an Egyptian, 1 to a Broadway song off Boardwalk Empire, and 1 to Friend Like Me, Aladdin. I'm going to take a rest from the Middle Eastern culture, despite the fact that my 7th continent was actually Africa, North Africa, Morocco to be specific. So this week I had prepared a dance that I'd seeded from my previous vlog, but because my dance studio has been repurposed, I think I'm gonna save that for next week when I might have access again, or even the next week. Now that I'm here, I'm sort of wondering whether I could actually maybe dance from here. Now, I've filmed enough dancing to know what's necessary, and I think what I need is more vertical clearance. I tried filming in what's called locked vertical, and that's the annoying one that includes black sidebars, whatever the orientation of your cell phone is. So we're just gonna go with what I'm planning today, which is hand dancing, hand dancing, hand dancing. Since I've already talked at length about breaking, I'll talk about hand dancing, tutting and whacking. If anything, actually, tutting was the first form of dance that really caught my attention to the point that I wanted to teach myself something. Over a decade ago, when I first watched America's Best Dance Crew, Quest Crew had a member named Hawk who was really good at hand tutting, and I thought I would just visually watch one of his performances and copy it. Now, I failed sorely on that, but that first pass at teaching myself to dance taught me a lot of things about how to approach it if I were to try again. This year has been the year of trying again, and I've dedicated myself to being more practical and systematic with my dancing. So, the obvious thing with dancing is that in breaking, it is total body, but at least when you're first starting, it's only hand heavy when you go to the floor. But when you go to the floor, it's hand, arm, and total upper body strength, which takes time to develop. So when you choreograph things, especially mixture of breaking and pop, unless you consciously choreograph your hands, you might be left with roaming hands, especially if you concentrate on top rocking, which is the stand-up portion of breaking. So I noticed this, and I realized that this was the perfect opportunity to bring up and revisit tutting again. I've explained before that tutting concentrates a lot on angular motions, 90 degrees in particular, because if you Google Egyptian hieroglyphs, you'll notice that a lot of their hand movements were such. Now, as Egypt was my 100th country, and I've observed some of these hieroglyphs up front, eye to eye, I've noticed that actually at least a lot of tutters are much more dedicated to the 90 degrees than the Egyptians were. The 90s were loose in hieroglyphs, but tutters, and me especially, are picky about those 90-degree angles, because I think they just look good. They look much better than off 90. But as anything in dance, hitting those 90s is a mixture of genetics, skills, and practice. So, since my yoga practice, I've always stretched out my fingers, hands, wrists, arms, and shoulders because I play guitar. On Makeup Free Mondays, I have an entire catalog of me riffing, on the spot, spontaneous covers, and from that, I'd always been exercising my hands. But from a genetic standpoint, I actually have what's called hypermobility, which is characterized by a series of tests. Now, none of these tests am I going to do on camera, but suffice to say, I'm one of these people who can actually bend way past 90 given applied pressure. Now here's the thing though, a lot of the times with tutting, you have to be able to hold 90s without that pressure point. So that's where the practice is. The practice is, can you hold a 90 when you remove your pressure points? And that's something I've practiced quite a lot this year. There's 90s in all different shapes and formats. I started with learning some bass moves and simple choreographies by some of the top tutters in the world, including Dido or Dido? I always forget. Anyways, if you search up tutting, she'll definitely come up for sure. So, in my Egypt-themed dances, I have integrated a lot of tutting. So starting from the top, I did the walk like an Egyptian, which is the typical one that you see in the music video. Okay, But I added a little bit of flair and style to mine. What did I do? I'm just trying to remember what I did. Oh, right. Let me just walk through what my choreography is. Yes, I added a little bit of hand flair. Okay. Normal walk like Egyptian would be just the... Let me just see first. So it's actually interesting to do this in front of a gridded wall, because the gridded wall actually can tell you right away if I'm hitting those 90s. There we go. So the gridded wall is telling you exactly whether I'm hitting those 90s on point. So this is walk like an Egyptian, right? And then I often added the hand rolling. So back, forth. Now I'm being picky because I actually have something to tell me. This is actually good practice. So part of why I show behind the scenes of me dancing is because I think that a lot of times the content we have access to, even on an amateur platform like YouTube, is too polished. So we have professional choreographers and dancers showing you the end product of years of dance training. And that can be intimidating to people who want to just start. I've always been the type of person who worries a lot less about what people think about me. The reason why I'm filming all of my rough cuts and all of that in vlog format is because it's just a good way to back everything up. I have a triple channel backup: YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So especially when I'm traveling, a lot of the vlogging that I do, I consider it important, but I go for so long, hours and hours sometimes, that it burns through a lot of space. Now, I've traveled before with SD cards, and I just spiral out of control because I want to film everything in multiple different formats, in 4K, in VR, in 360. But what vlogging, living on the channels allows me to do is allows me to still have a reasonably decent enough quality, 720p, good enough, but once I lower the quality down a little bit, I can go for longer, and I can worry a lot less about burning up SD space, because SD space is quite precious when you are using it for things like 4K, VR, whatever. And instead of having at the back of my mind all the time, oh man, I'm burning up space with my vlogging, all I do is I throw it up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, on my multi-stream. Now the thing is that multi-stream bypasses the need for an SD card. It'll go up on the 3 channels, and then you can backwards download it later if you want a hard copy yourself. Now obviously, because I'm vlogging from where I live, then I've turned on the SD backup so that I have a hard copy plus all of my triple backups, because it's easier that way. When you download after the fact, it's already usually been compressed. So if you want the 720 raw data, you should probably turn on SD copy. But again, if you are concerned, you can turn off SD copy and still have 3 backups of your content without having to worry about burning up SD space. Now this is a very technical tangent, but it's an important tangent because that's the whole point of why I encourage people to actually live vlog and live stream. It's a good technical solution. Now, I think the technical solution has always allowed me to solve many problems at once. Yes, I solved the memory issue so that I'm free to just create however I want without thinking about whether I'm utilizing vital SD space. But also, something about the live process makes me express and communicate better. It's just better with all of the ways that I've tried before. So starting as a youngin', I used to write things down on pen and paper before the internets was invented in the 90s. And then after 90s, I've tried different things, typing down my ideas. But the best has been something that I just did out of the blue on a whim to basically show my family that I was safe right then and there during adventure travels. I'd come across this live vlogging, live streaming idea before I left, and then I thought, well, this is a perfect way for people to know that I'm safe, alive right at this moment. So I started it when I first started to adventure travel on my own. Up to that point, I had been adventure traveling with a couple of members very close to me, my mom and bro, but now I'm actually doing it by myself, sometimes with tour support, and sometimes completely on my own. So yes, this has been an important creative endeavor. Yeah, an important creative endeavor. I'm trying to think. Should I just walk through the hand tuts that I've choreographed? This is actually interesting. This is something where I've been using my outdoor spaces to help me align myself. So yes, I mean, obviously I could dance indoors, I could dance outdoors in other places, but people who follow my vlog know that my patio has something very interesting. It has basically wood planks aligned in a grid. And the grid has been very helpful for me to practice my spacing. I like being precise in my dancing. Now obviously when I'm first learning moves, I'm free. I allow myself that freedom to learn the move first, but once that move has become somewhat reflexive, I then start to drill precision. The precision is helpful because, again, my floor has natural grid markings. I've discovered now that filming tutting out on this paneled wall is good because this paneled wall also allows me to basically, let's see, align myself. Now, the perfect 90 is something that you aim for and is difficult. Can we see? I'm wearing black today, so sometimes it's hard to see, but it's close enough. You basically see the box that my hands are making, the 90 box, and then, right, the 90, again, up, down, 90 again. Now, one of the interesting things too is that what I think is 90 from my visual perspective sometimes shows up differently from the camera's perspective. So that's also been an interesting amalgamation of skills. Dancing plus ensuring that you look decent enough on camera. Now, it's one of those things where you just gotta work on it. This is one of those things where it's a lot of fun to just walk through some choreography as it is. Actually, I could do a kick. That's alright. That's interesting. So, people will have noticed that a lot of my vlogs are actually just me practicing out different skills. And practicing skills is a lot of fun. Ooh, there's a lot of contrast. Ooh, that's, see, this is what I'm talking about. This box right here. Just like if I had a straight edge, do I have? So actually the hardest 90 to hit is the palm up 90. But there it is. Oh, having a bit of a crackly wrists. That's the fun thing about having the roof paneling to organize yourself, is that this is where you're gonna see. And actually it's been a while since I've analyzed my angles, but yes, I'm picky about them. I'm talking and angling. Okay. It is a multitask, but I'm gonna continue going. We still have some more minutes. That was Boardwalk Empire. Okay, so we can continue going. Throwing in some Super Crew. Did that S work, or is that the other S? Here, we'll do both. Because sometimes I'm a little dyslexic. Okay. If you can believe we're actually heading into the end of this fucked up year, and it's been flippin'. It's been fucked up for a lot of people, including me. Going slower than normal because I've actually very rarely film out here, so it's good to get some rough cuts of what my angles look like. I'm going slower than normal because I'm actually aiming for precision more than anything else. Sometimes you can. But once you got your precision down, you can start. Can I actually do that properly here? 1, 2, 3, no. I actually gotta go like this. It's hard sometimes to make sure everything ends up in the screen. What else have I done? little whacking in there. Whacking is, as the name implies, whacking your arms after playing around with your elbow joint. So that's something that I've practiced quite a lot for the Aladdin Friend Like Me choreography. But I actually paired it with some intricate hip-hop footwork, V-walk. And the thing is that it's actually quite a feat to do both of the things at once. Now, I like to get the rotation. Okay, black face. Part of the interesting thing is looking this way, looking that way, looking that way. And in any case, today was more talking, riffing, dancing a little bit from the top body. I'll save my choreography for next week when I have access to my normal dance studio again. It's a good one. That's what I think about all my choreographies. This year